It's sad. I'm gonna tell you the truth. War is a terrible thing. And the bad part about it, little kids running around over there, the mom and daddy done got killed and everything, nowhere to go with nothing. We used to take our K rations and give it to them to. Put us on a ship in New York and sent us to, I went to France, the Havre, France, and they took us off at the boat, put us in cattle cars with our little straw and all, and carried us to Camp Lucky Strike. It was a small camp. They put us on, loaded us on these old trucks again and carried us to put us on an old train. And we went through Belgium and went on into Dusseldorf, Germany.
I was in service. I wasn't at that time, but then I talked to my mother and daddy, and they got me. When I was 17 years old, I went into the Navy. When they got us on the USS Boxer, the aircraft carrier, we were refueling the planes and all like that. All right, well, we got out in, after we went through the Panama Canal, we got on out in the Pacific Ocean. Didn't know where we was, didn't know where I was anyway, but they knew.
Well, we left, after we left New Orleans, we went down and down through the Panama Canal. Well, we went to the Philippines, and I was a radarman. It was a LST. It was built to go up into the beach, and it had the bow doors there that would open and lower the ramp, and the equipment would not run off on the beach.
They had two armored divisions there, 14th and the 20th, which were training outfits. They trained replacements for those boys that were overseas and got hurt or killed. Eventually, we became a combat outfit, and we went over in convoy.
They took us off the old train, sending us out, and you could see the flares in the air, you could hear the shells falling. And he said, boys, old company commander said, boys, what you learn in training, you're going to need it now. And that's when we went into combat. And the shells was falling and all.
Well, we lost 2 airplanes before we got too far out there. Airplanes take off and fight, and they had a real battle there. And when they take off, we take another course, but all them pilots know where we go be. They got as far to the ship and everything, but there was so much that one of them went down just as he coming into the ship, went in the water. but we only lost one pilot. But the war ended just before we got to Okinawa.
A buddy of mine died. It was a funny thing. We was going down through the Caribbean, and we were talking. He said, I ain't gonna get back. He said, I'm not gonna live to get back. I said, well, I sure as heck am. And he didn't live to get over there. He died a week out of Panama, and we buried him at sea, and I was a pallbearer. That was the worst thing I ever had to do. He had something like rheumatic fever. We didn't have a doctor aboard any of the 3 ships.
One of my brothers, Tony, he was in the Battle of Budge, and he was an artillery, and they captured him with another group and lined him up in a churchyard. Now that's what we heard. The Germans shot him down, killed him.
I ended up in the mechanized cavalry. Instead of horses, we had small armored cars that had 50 caliber machine gun on the turret. We were a reconnaissance outfit. And we had a 10-man team. Liberated a lot of our prisoners, Canadian prisoners, come upon a concentration camp, and we would liberate them and ship them on back to our lines.
Had done dug a hole up in the embankment, and I had done got my head and my waist up in there. My Lieutenant Danny crawled down there where I was at. He said, Vero, he said, is it hot down here? I said, yeah, and the shells was cutting the limbs off the trees. Wow, wow, shrapnel flying. And he said, good crazy. He said, can I stick my head up in there? I said, if you can get it in here. He laid down on my left side, on my right side, laid his left arm up on my right arm. And the next, I say a couple more shells had done fell. A shell fell and over top of us, and the shrapnel come down, cut his arm off. He said, "No, put a scratch on me nowhere."
Yeah.
We didn't lose a man, so that was good. We had one partial casualty. We did a lot of traveling at night, and with the Jeeps, you had a windshield that folded down on the hood, and you had a cover. You covered it so that it didn't reflect. Well, they got smart and they started putting wires across the roads, about this high. We had to put iron bars with cutters on the top to where it would catch the wire and slice it. But we had one guy before we did that got his neck cut pretty good.
I was in the 81 millimeter mortars in there, and they was trying to knock him out fast. The number 1 gunner and the number 2, you had a base plate, you had the tube, and the tripod. Number 1 and number 2 and number 3 gunner carried that. Each one of the shells weighed 13 pounds and something where you had to carry. And each guy had to carry 3 of them on his back.
Another day, once again, we're moving fast. And they had a lot of lightweight observation planes. That day, we shot down 5 of them. One was a light bomber. They got in so low, they never got out. Well, we sent a medic out And they opened up on the medic. Well, they didn't need the medic after that.